Hi, and welcome to this week's 5-Minute Masterclass. This week I'd like to talk to you about all things disclosure, particularly recording disclosures that are made by children to you in your role as safeguarding officer, teacher, GP, whatever your professional role is. If you work with children, you're going to have a disclosure made at some point, and it's really important that you get this down correctly. It records for the professionals further up the chain the nature of the disclosure, and it's a contemporary note of what was said to you by the child in question. However, given it's such a crucial document, I see time and again disclosure forms that are done on scraps of paper that don't give the full information and actually lead to more questions being asked than answers that are actually given. So this week I want to give you the 4 W's of disclosure. So the first thing is what? It's really crucial that what you record is what was said. You need to say what was said, what happened, and what was going on at the time that the disclosure was made. The next thing is where. So in terms of the disclosure, where did it take place? For example, was it on a school trip? Did it take place in a person's home, or was it in a public place? Also, where did the child make the disclosure to you? Where were you at the time that this came out? Were you on a school trip? Were you in the playground with the child? Was it something that you were talking about in the classroom that triggered this disclosure potentially? The third thing to look at is when. So when did the thing that the child is making the disclosure about happen? Was it daytime? Was it nighttime? Does the child have any idea when it was? Are we talking recently, as in the last couple of days or the last couple of weeks? Or are we talking a bit longer than that? Are we talking about months ago? Are we talking about something that happened maybe in the summer holidays or on a weekend with a particular parent or carer? So when did it happen? Get all that detail down. Also, and there's a theme here, when did it happen in the school day? When was it at playtime? Was it at dinner time? Was it first thing on the morning? Was it an after school club that this disclosure was made? So get the whens right. Finally, who? So who is the child referring to as the person that's done this particular thing? Who else was around at the time? Was the child on their own with this particular person? Was the child with somebody else when this happened? Were there a few people around? Were there other adults around at the time? Who were they? Does the child know them? And who did they tell? Did they tell anybody else other than you? Did they say anything to their parents or to their carers, or to brothers or sisters that were around? Did they say anything else to another member of staff? Is this how you've become involved? So the who's of what's going on. Also, who else is around when this disclosure is made to you? If you're in the playground, are there other pupils around with you, or is the child on their own? Is there another teacher present, or has the child come up to you on their own as well? So in terms of disclosures, the 4 W's are what, where, when, and who. If you get that information down on a proper disclosure form, not a piece of paper torn out of a book, not a piece of paper that's been lying around in the classroom or lying around on your desk, you should have a proper disclosure form for this. Then if all that information is on there, then what you are doing is making a proper and full note of what has gone on to allow the professionals coming in after you, such as social workers, depending on the nature of the disclosure, perhaps GPs or other professionals coming in to have a full idea of what was happening. Okay? So that's it for this week's masterclass. So that's the 4 W's of disclosure, and I will see you next week. Thank you very much.